of the morning, top of the morning. Happy Thursday, beautiful people. It is Thursday, December 10th, 2020, and this is your Breakfast Club call for today. My name is Pamela Pacheco, and as always, it is an honor, pleasure, and privilege to serve here with you guys. Thank you guys so much for logging on. And if you are just joining these calls and you don't know what you're tuning in for, let me just be the one to tell you to tell your friend, thank you. I remember along my journey in entrepreneurship the last 7 years, I was looking forward to these morning calls. And I was looking forward to these morning calls because I knew that how I started my day was going to set the tone for the rest of my day, right? Garbage in is garbage out, but greatness in is greatness out. And we have to set the tone. We have to be intentional about the life that we want to create, about the energy that we want to give, the energy that we want to take in, right? The energy we want to absorb. So it is an absolute blessing that we get to gather in this form, right? So if you're just tuning on and you didn't know about this, welcome. Send out those last minute messages because I promise you, somebody's life is going to be forever impacted because of this call today. Okay. All right. So guys, today is definitely not about me. Thank God. Right. But I'm excited. I'm excited to bring up this young man, right? I'm very excited to bring up this leader of leaders. I had the privilege of meeting him about a month ago, a little bit over a month ago, when I was in Dallas. A few of our leaders, we all flew out there, and I remember when this guy came in the room, and like so many people, you know, we're in the middle of this merger, and we were like, I don't know what to expect. But I remember the moment he started speaking, it was like we already knew him. The moment he started speaking, it was as if he was already part of our family. The moment he started speaking, I felt in my heart a certainty of not only where we were at, but the certainty of the family that we were merging into. He has over 20 years in network marketing experience. He is an amazing leader of leaders. He is an amazing father to his beautiful daughters. He has a background like you wouldn't imagine. Was an athlete, was a football player. I mean, he is out of this world. His story is a force. But more than anything, he is our leader. He is our mentor, right? He is our new friend. And I'm excited to have him on here because it is about 6 a.m., if I'm not mistaken, in Arizona time, which is where he is at. So I do not take this lightly, Muzafer. Thank you so much for being on. Without further ado, our blue diamond, Muzafer, are you on the line? How you doing?
I am. Hey, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for being on here with us.
You're
Welcome,
welcome.
welcome,
It's my
welcome.
pleasure. And I'm excited to meet everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. And thank you for the kind words. It's been, a mutual feeling for me, getting a chance to meet everybody. It's incredible, to see what all of you have done. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm so in awe of the leadership and the people in this company. It wasn't like, we as a company here at Secret were looking to go, and find companies or things of that sort. That wasn't our intention at all. I've always been told that you have a plan, God has a plan, God always wins, right? So, we just don't know, exactly what's going to happen. Well, one thing led to another, one phone call led to another, and I started meeting the people at World Ventures, and I was beside myself because all I saw was heart. And I'm going, wow, person after person, leader after leader. And then I started hearing, outside of the success that was created, obviously there was challenges, and there's no secret behind the challenges that happened. And I started hearing about the challenges, but I was I was enamored by the fact that through the challenges, you guys stayed together. And it was all about one big team. It was all about one big family. It was all about having each other's back. It was all about no one gets left behind. And that was my mentality. That's how I've always been in this profession, in this space. And um, so it's been exciting for me. And I'm excited to be here. And I'll go in any direction that you want me to go. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about an agenda for this call. I apologize that we haven't had a chance to really communicate. My schedule has been absolutely crazy. Uh, um, I want y'all to know something. We're very, very close to finalizing the tree for the whole company, and where everything is going to be very soon live. And I know that sometimes people go, gosh, what's taking so long? And I'm going to say this as respectfully as possible. What's taking so long is you. And what I mean is you guys are unbelievable. And you're going, that doesn't make sense. Okay, you're phenomenal. Muzafer, that doesn't make sense why it's taking so long. Because you built such a large organization. I don't know if you've ever tried to run data, but the fact is that the bigger the file, the longer it takes to transfer. And so when a file is this big, it takes a certain amount of time to transfer. When it's this big, it takes a certain amount of time to transfer. And when it's this big, now most of you guys can see my video screen right now. When the file is off the screen, like when the file is off the screen, it takes a whole lot of time, right? Because it's just how it is. So I'm just trying to say you guys did such a phenomenal job it's been, and so the file is transferred. So every time we test, it takes X amount of hours for the file to run through a test. And then it takes X amount of hours. And so it's just so you know, we're at that final stage, at that final minute. As of late last night, there was final tests being run, and so we should have an answer today. And that's why I'm so excited to be on this call. I just want you guys to know that you've been hearing it's coming, it's coming. Hold on, hold on. I learned in Spanish, espera, espera. So I'm just saying that it's closer than you think. It's not far away at all, and it's about to be extremely excited. And I'll go through the timeline. And by the way, I didn't even ask you, young lady, that is it Pamela? Is it Pam? What do you go by? Is it Superwoman? Is it Super Smile? Is it Phenomenal Energy? Is it Incredible Lady? What do they call you? I would like to know.
My friends call me Pam. You can call me Pam.
Pam? Perfect. All right. So you said Pam, right?
Yes.
Okay, so perfect. And this is only the beginning. I want you to know something, that I don't know how we ended up together. And I'm going to say one more, right? I'll say something that I've always said, is there are no coincidences. Coincidence is God's way of being anonymous. And so everything has happened for a reason. It has. As much as we were all hoping for this to have happened sooner, or for it to have happened last week, there's a reason why things are finalizing and finishing and going through the time that it's going through. So I just want you guys to know, but we're all excited. There's so much that's coming to completion, and so thank you for having me on. I'll go in any direction you want me to go, and I'll follow your lead, young lady.
Thank you again so much. Man, it's super, super exciting. And it's something that you said that just resonated with me, because it's funny. My mom always says that. She's like, there's no such things as coincidences. It's God incidences. They're Dios incidencias. It's right. Definitely.
That's how they translate me in Spanish when I say what I say. That's great.
Yes, you got it. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. If you could tell, a little bit, I told everybody you've been in network marketing kind of like 20 years. I've told them a little bit about your background. If there's anything in, your story, your journey that you saying, you know what, because of this in my journey, I know that this partnership is going to be something that it's a marriage, it's a family ship, it's a blessing. Like you said, I believe that everything is happening in, it's ordained. It's divinely ordained. I believe that this is, a miracle. This is a blessing. This is something that we've all needed, right? Yeah. But what is something that you're saying, without, if you want to get into your story, you can, right? No but problem. You're like, look, there's just certain things that you need to possess in your experience in network marketing, in your experience in business, and I kind of got that, right? Because it's like the energy that you gave off, it was one of those things that it's like there's not too many people that can talk to us or that we can meet that it's an instant connection, if that makes sense. Yeah. Right? Or that there's an instant sense of comfortability, and there's like an instant sense of genuineness that you're like, it's authentic. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is why this has been able to flow the way that it has. Right. Well, I appreciate it. Now, gosh, my story, right? So it's 25 years, Pam, 25 years of being in this space. And I want you guys to know that everybody has a story, right? All of you have a story. You have your story that the world is waiting to hear. You have your experiences that you've gone through, whether it's in network marketing, outside of network marketing, and you've gone through things that have led you to where you're at today. And for so many of you, maybe you're not where you want to be financially, or you're not where you want to be in certain areas, but the fact is that you're here. And we can't change yesterday. The only thing we can do is learn from it. I'm a fan of the fact that there is no failure. There is no such thing as failure. As long as you get up and you take the experience from what knocked you down, and you take that experience and you add it to your life, you never failed. It was just life experiences, it's so funny. So my dad is East African. My mom is Middle Eastern. I don't know how that worked out. It really sounds crazy when you think about it, like Uganda and Dubai. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever, but it happened. Thank God it happened, because there's a Muzafer sitting in this world today because of it. But they were kicked out of Uganda, put in refugee camps, and we found ourselves in Canada. My family was split. Some were sent to England, some were sent to the US, and some were sent to Canada. And we ended up in Canada, and we never had money. Like, you could only leave with one suitcase. If you were caught leaving with money, they would shoot you. And so my family buried money into the ground, and they left with one suitcase. And we had businesses in Uganda. Like, we were doing well. We had a good life. And, coming to Canada was difficult, right? Like, you don't speak the language, you don't know the culture of the country or the people. And, so for us, it was really, really unique, right? So my dad got a job at a factory. We grew up in a tough neighborhood just because of the fact that was what was affordable. And, we ended up getting to the United States when I was 10 years old. But I mean, during that time, this was in a time period where kids walked to school, like, especially in neighborhoods where buses weren't there, right? So like, we would walk to school. Like, my school was a mile away. And I didn't have the luxury of speaking English. So I didn't speak English until after kindergarten, right? So I end up walking to school, and my name is Muzafer, which people don't know how to say. My look is different. My mix was different at the time. Today it's not as different as it was back then. When I grew up in a neighborhood, and there were kids that were white, there were kids that were black, there were kids that were Asian. Nobody saw anything like me. And so I used to get in fights when I was a kid because no one understood me. They didn't understand the language I spoke. They didn't understand my name. They didn't understand my look. And I remember, coming home, and my school clothes were dirty, and my dad would whoop my tail because he always said, you don't play in your school clothes. And I tried to explain that I wasn't playing. I was fighting 5 kids because I was being picked on, and I had to protect myself. And so there was always this, being judged, being picked on, being, going through it. And everybody's gone through stuff, right? All of you have gone through stuff. We just go through it.
in life. And as I got older, I was like always fighting my way through life because I was the one that was shorter than everybody and all of that sort. And then I had this growth spurt in the 11th grade and got a chance, where people started going, hey man, this guy can run pretty fast. And so I started playing football and basketball, and everybody started becoming my friend. And then I had this ability to get to a university because of sports. And my senior year, I tore everything in my right knee, my ACL, MCL, and PCL ligament. And, I said earlier, man, you have a plan. God has a plan. God always wins, right? I didn't understand God's plan. Like, I didn't understand it. My mom's like she's like a pastor. And my mom would always sit there and say, when one door closes, God opens another. And I used to sit there and say, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why I couldn't play sports. Like I didn't go to school to go to school. I went to school to play sports. Like, that was it. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. And what ended up happening is that a friend of mine introduced me to network marketing. And I don't know what your first company was. Maybe it was World Ventures. Mine was a company that cost $5,000 to start, was my first company. And after tax and shipping, it was $5,750 plus I had to go wire the money through Western Union, which was another $12.83. And so the point is that I didn't have it. Like, you got to understand, my mom and dad, when we moved to the United States, my mom and dad made $30,000 combined income, like combined income. And so I grew up in a neighborhood where I had three sets of friends. One set of my friends, they did music. Like, that was their whole thing, was music. Another set of my friends played sports. And another set of my friends sold things they shouldn't have been selling, right? And so those are the three groups of friends that we had. And so for me, it was like we just didn't have money. And I got into the group of friends mainly that played sports because you don't want to see me in music and entertainment. So what ends up happening is that I get introduced to network marketing, and it's like $5,750. But the reason why I was so excited is because I saw opportunity. I fell in love with the concept. I fell in love with this business model. And you got to realize that I got injured and I saw a lot of my friends become professional football and basketball players. Like, I'll never forget the day that my friends had signed their contracts and we were all in a limo and we were going out to celebrate. And there was four of us and three of them had signed professional contracts and me. And I'll never forget when they said, hey, we're going to go celebrate. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, we'll just split the bill four ways. And I was like, no, and I didn't know what to say. And at the end of the night, the bill was over $40,000. Wow. Right. And you're talking to a guy that's never had a drop of alcohol in his life. I don't smoke. I've never done drugs. So this night of partying, I really had zero to do with it. And they wanted to split the bill four ways. And thank God one of my friends covered it. And I just realized I don't ever want to be this charity case again. Like, I don't ever want to be this guy. Because I was sitting there patting my pockets going, I think I forgot my wallet, and so they took care of it, but it really hit me. And I saw network marketing and I saw people making $10,000 a month. And I was like, oh my God, man, if I could just make that, I would be rich for the rest of my life, because I was so used to a paycheck of $600 a week, right? Like, that's $2,400 a month. I didn't understand what you had to do. All I understood was I put in this amount of hours and I make 600 and some odd dollars a week. And I used to think, like, gosh, man, how much hours do I have to put in to make $10,000? No one ever taught me leverage. No one ever taught me that, hey, Muzafer, look, it's impossible to do it the way you're doing it. I was a math guy, right? I used to sit there and say, okay, if I make this much per hour and I work this many hours, right? But if you really stop and think about it now, there's 168 hours in a week, right? There's 168 hours. It's impossible for you to work 168 hours. Like physically impossible. physically impossible for you to work 168 hours in a week. So then what do? And that's when I was taught for the first time, but Muzafer, what if you introduced a few people and you had 10 people on your team that worked 17 hours? Is it possible to work 17 hours? I said, well, yeah. They said, what if you had 10 people on your team that worked 17 hours? Now your business is doing 170 hours. It's more than you can physically do by yourself. And I was like, wow, right? Like I was in this wow. And I didn't understand, like I still, everything was snapping in my head. And I was like, I got to get this $5,000, right? 5,750. And you know, mom and dad made $30,000 combined income. So how do you think that conversation went, right? Like I went home, I'm not in university. I have my degrees. I can't get a job. I'm living at my parents' house, and I'm going to my dad, who's East African, going, Dad, I found a job. And he was just like, man, that's great, son. And I go, listen, I go, it's going to cost me $5,750 to start. Imagine the rest of that conversation. Like, like, I grew up in a household that you don't talk back to your dad or you get whooped. I'll never forget. I remember I ran to the dinner table one time and I was so excited to eat. And I ran to the dinner table and my knee hit the table and the water spilled. Man, I got whooped. Like it was like that's so. Imagine now I'm going, oh, but even before that, I've never told anybody this, I don't think, that I remember when the first Air Jordan shoes came out and everybody had them. They were red, white, and black. And people used to lace them up, right? Because we used to lace them in a way where the laces would mesh, and it was like the black and white and laces, and I wanted it because everybody had it. And the shoes were like, I think they were like $90. They were $90, and I'll never forget. I went to my dad saying I want $90 shoes. And man, I got my butt whipped because my dad was like, your dad doesn't wear $90 shoes. How dare you ask for $90 shoes? So all this stuff was going through my head as I'm telling my dad I need $5,750, right? And so I'll spare you the rest of the detail of that story because it was absolutely not fun. But he said no, right? And so I went to my mom and she said no. And then I had to regroup, and I went a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And by the seventh time, I went to my mom and I said, hey, Mom, I said, do you love me? And thank God she said yes. And I said, listen, Mom, I said, if you co-sign on a loan for me for $6,000, the monthly payment will be $127. I said, if I can't make $127 payment a month, I'll quit and I'll go get a job. I said, but I need to do this because I promised you that I was going to retire you. I promised you that I was going to buy you guys a house in a better neighborhood. And now imagine my dad screaming at me going, that's never going to happen. But I thought I was going to do it playing football, right? And so when I got injured, I felt like I let my mom down because I made these promises. And my mom, all she wanted to do was help people learn about God, but she used to have to beg to get off of work to do it. And so I saw network marketing as an avenue. And she finally said, listen, if your dad finds out, he will kill you and kill me. But I will do this, but you have to make it work. And she co-signed on this loan for me. And I did it. And I want you to understand something. I got this loan, and I'll never forget. I went with the cash to the office. I had $5,750 and I gave it to my sponsor. And we went to Western Union and we're sitting at Western Union, and it was $12.83. Mind you, I just received a loan for $6,000. I'm broke, right? Like I'm broke. 5,750 is to start my business. I have $250 left. Gas, food, all that stuff, right? So the fee for Western Union was $12.83. And I'm with my sponsor. I look at him and I'm like, all right, man, the fee is $12.83. He goes, yeah, the fee to start your business is $12.83. I'm like, dude, serious? Like, are you serious right now? Like, you know what it took for me to get this money, man. Like, man, just pay the $12. Like, if you were my sponsor, would you have paid the $12.83 for me? Right? I just came up with, you're gonna get $1,200 in commissions for signing me up. Right? Would you pay the $12.83? Like, ask yourself, right? Would you pay that for me? And most of you would say yes. Like, most of you would say yes. Thank God my sponsor said no, because he looked at me and he said, do you want to work for me, or do you want to run your own business? He said, because if you want to run your own business, your business costs $12.83 to start. And I was so mad. And at that moment, I hated the guy. Later on, I realized that he was teaching me something that I was going to later duplicate. Because, and if you're writing anything down, write this down. Everything you do and don't do duplicates. Everything. Everything you do and don't do duplicates. So I ended up paying the money. Now, I didn't have the money to go to training. Everybody was going to training in that company. That was all that they talked about, was training. Training cost $300. Do the math. I got 5,750 was spent. I had 250 left. I spent $12.83, right? All of you guys can do the math, right? That leaves me $237.17, right? That's what I have to now do whatever. Well, the training ticket is actually $399, but if you pre-register, it's $300. I couldn't go, so I didn't go to training. My first year, full time in network marketing, I made $1,000. My first year, full time. What does full time mean? Full time means I worked about 14 hours a day, 7 days a week in an office. And I made $1,000 my first year full time. Me and my dad would argue and scream every night at each other, because my dad used to say, this business is not for people like us. And he was saying that I was broke. I was wasting my life. I was doing all of this stuff. And everybody in the office and in the company kept saying, go to training, go to training, go to training. My second year, I made $12,000. My second year. So for 2 years of work, I made $13,000 for 2 years of work. And I finally got enough money saved up to go to a training. And the only reason I went to training because my sponsor looked at me and I said, look, man, when I make money, I'll go to training. He said, Muzafer, that's like saying when you get good grades, you'll get a tutor. He goes, that's like, what does that sound like to you? I said, well, it sounds stupid. He goes, well, you said it, I didn't, right? And I'm going, man, damn, right? So I find the money to go to training. You know who one of my first trainers was ever? Was a guy by the name of Marcus Setta. So I go to this training with this guy named Marcus Setta, and I am blown away by this guy. And I'm broke. I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm enjoying this training, and I'm learning the information. And he's telling me, he's like, if you say this, it's going to be wrong. Like, this is what will happen. I'm going, oh my God, I'm saying everything he's saying not to say. So if what he's saying not to say is messing up my business, chances are what he's telling me to do is going to help my business. So I started doing it. And the second thing that impacted my life outside of that training, because then I became a training junkie, right? Like, then I started going to training after training. It was like, oh my God, I need my training fixed, right? Like, that was, it's funny to me. So she's laughing. As long as Pam's laughing, I don't know if you're all laughing, but maybe it's a bad joke. Anyways, so the point is that I can do this because I've never done drugs in my life, so I can make these type of jokes. So I become this training junkie, right? And what ends up happening is I meet the owner of the company, and he becomes my mentor, right? So Mark's mentor became my mentor. Thank God. He, for some reason, took a liking to me. And I'll never forget the day that he said, hey, kid, He said, you need to go find the secret. Now, not our company's secret, but he told me to read this book called Think and Grow Rich. This is my original book. If you look at it, this is my original book that's been mangled. It's the best $7.50 that I ever spent. Now, by the way, I have multiple copies of the book today, right? Like I have several of them. And so I end up asking him, that's how stupid I was, man. The guy goes, listen, you need to read the book, Think and Grow Rich. And inside the book, there's a secret. Now, it doesn't say the secret is, but you need to go find it, right? And when you find it, let me know and I'll help you. And I say to him, I said, listen, I'm not much of a book reader. Are there tapes that I could do they have like the tapes, like the audio tapes? And this guy says to me, he's like, hey kid, he goes, how much money did you make last year? And my butt puckered harder than I can even explain to you. And I said, the most money I've ever made was $35,000. He goes, great. He goes, one of my businesses, one of them made 88 million. I'll never forget the number. He said, if I listen to you, how much will I make next year? My butt puckered even harder. I didn't even believe there was a harder pucker available, but it was there. And he said, if you shut up and listen to me, kid, and read the book, how much could you make next year? And I said, I'll read the book, sir. I'll read the book. And so I read the book. My first time, I couldn't find the secret. My second, my third, it was my seventh time. There's something about me and the number 7. You'll figure it out. It's crazy. There's 2 numbers that come into my life all the time. I was born on the 7th. 7 comes to me all the time. You too? 7 comes to me all the time. And the second one is 21. You'll hear that a lot. 21 comes to me like crazy. That was my football number. And so I read the book. I found the secret. And that month I made $7,000. I had never made $7,000 in my life. Look, the number 7. It was my first big paycheck was 7,000. Like, think about that. Like, it's crazy to me, right? My brain's flipping out. My next month I made 9,000. The next month I made 10. Then I made 11. Then I made 13. Then I made 17. And then it started doubling and my life changed. Now, my first company lasted 5.5 years for me, and the company ended. And when the company ended, I'll never forget, I lost my income. I lost my life. I lost everything. I had homes. I had cars. I had lifestyle. I had money. I had everything. And my dad still hated the business. And before, by the way, I ended up coming back home to my parents' couch. And my dad looked at me and said, if you're going to live in this house, you're going to go get a job. And I found my second network marketing company. And what was crazy is everybody that was in my team in my first network marketing company was angry because the company ended. Like, it ended. Like, there was nothing I could do, right? Like, I didn't do it. And I came to terms with that real quickly, where a lot of people didn't come to terms with it. A lot of people were holding on to it. Listen, it was puppy love for me because it was my first company. I was in love. I mean, short of having a tattoo, right? Like, I didn't, by the way, don't worry. I don't have like a tattoo of my first company's name, but there were actually people that had a tattoo of it. Like, and I'm not here to knock them or anything, but that's how in love we were of our first company. We thought it was our forever. And what I realized was that, it was a season. It was a season for me. It was a chapter in my life. And I think because of all the personal development and training that I went through, I learned to divorce myself from the past faster than other people. And a lot of people were holding on. And I came to this realization that I have to write a new chapter. I don't know what did it. I can't even tell you, but a visual came that the chapter was done, and now I have a clean page, right? To start my new chapter. And I can write whatever I want to write. I've always heard that the rear view mirror in your car is small, and the windshield is big. So you don't sit there and stare at your past. Because if you're driving and you're focused in the rear view mirror, you'll get into an accident every time. So I had to stay forward. I had to focus on the windshield. I had to focus on what's coming instead of what was. And I'll never forget, like, something really impacted me. When I was still in my first company, I remember calling my mom. And my mom, I was making money, and I was in Houston, Texas. Like, I can still remember driving. And back then, this is in the 90s, and I don't know if some of y'all are old enough for this or not, but man, in the 90s, the car was a Land Cruiser. Like, I had this pearl white Land Cruiser that had tinted windows and nice rims, and I was in H-Town, and I had friends, and I had a condo and everything. And I remember calling my mom, and I said, "Mom, I made it." I said, "I made it, Mom." I said, "Mom, I'm driving a beautiful Land Cruiser. I've got a beautiful condo. I've got money in the bank. I've got hand-tailored suits." I said, "I have a Rolex watch. I have $1,000 cash in my pocket, Mama. I made it." And my mom said, "Boy, sit down." And she gave me an hour and a half conversation about how if I forget where I came from, I'm headed back. Told you my mom was a preacher. And so for an hour and a half, I got this whole lesson. And I'll never forget. That night, I get back to my condo after talking to my mom. And on TV, there was an interview with Michael Jordan. And he talked about how he still remembered what it was like to be at North Carolina when he was playing for the Bulls. And so what I ended up doing is I wore my Nike shorts under everything to remind me of the kid that couldn't afford to buy Jordans when I was a kid. And today all I buy is Nike and Jordan because I can now afford it. So you'll see in my suits, or you'll see well, you won't see, and I'm not trying to give you a bad visual, but underneath all my suits, I have Nike shorts. Underneath all my dress socks, I wear Nike socks. Underneath all of them. Like, if you ever see me out and I'm wearing dress shoes, there's dress socks. Underneath the dress socks is Nike socks. I always have two pair of socks on. As crazy as it sounds, it's me. My daughters always have fun with this, but that's me. Underneath all my suits, there's or jeans, everything. There's always a pair of Nike or Jordan shorts. Always. Now, so sorry, ladies. I'm not trying to give you a bad visual. Please forgive me, but that's what's always there. It's just how it is. It's because of that conversation with my mom a long time ago, and so I end up finding my second network marketing company. And this is the advice I want to give all of you. I told you I divorced myself from the past, and other people held on to it. And all they did was reminisce about the first company. And they would talk about it and they would do whatever. And I wasn't engaged in those conversations because I had made the decision to start my second company. And so I thought like an athlete. And if I was playing for the Miami Heat and I now went to the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm not going to wear or talk about the Miami Heat. I'm going to put on my Lakers jersey and I'm playing for the Los Angeles Lakers and I'm going to go win a championship. My second company, I made a decision right when I signed my application, and I did 32 presentations my first 3 days. 31 people said yes, and one person said no. Do you know why? Everybody goes, "Oh, it's because you're good." No, it's because I had belief. I had no doubt. I didn't reminisce or live in the past. I focused on where I was headed. I told everybody that this is what I'm going to do, not this is what I did. This is what I'm going to do. And so to give you an idea, long story short, because we'll save the rest for another day. But I went through several challenges in the industry. Even though I had made a lot of money, I had every time, like my second company, they paid me great money from signups, but they never paid me my residuals. My third company, sorry guys, my third company was a startup, and it ran out of money after 1 year. My fourth company, I took from 2 countries to 15 countries around the world. They changed the quality of their product because of the recession. My fifth company was a startup that I was an equity partner in. And you have to imagine they almost said no to me because I got sued by my first mentor, just like Marcus said it did. I got sued for my seminar company. And the fifth company was giving me partnership. They were going to revoke the partnership because they were worried about this lawsuit. Now, that's a whole different story for another day, but thank God I got out of the lawsuit. And what ended up happening is that I became an equity partner in this company that we doubled, but after 2 years, the owner dissolved the partnership, took the money and ran. And I had to go do something else. And so this was my journey. How did I find Secret? 2015, I resigned from a company because the owner would lie on stage. He would say one thing to everybody and he'd say something else behind closed doors. And I'll never forget this. My wife looked at me and she said, "You're the most happy-go-lucky person I've ever met in my life, and you're miserable. I've never seen you miserable. What are you doing?" She said, "We don't need the money. Why are you with these people?" So I resigned, literally September 2015. And I sat there and I said, what am I going to do? And I remember the book, Think and Grow Rich, how it changed my life years ago. And I've done so many trainings with this book. So I picked up the book and I read it again, 2015. Inside of this book, there's a section that's called 31 Major Causes of Failure. 31. And I would take inventory of myself. Like, how many of those 31 do I have? Honestly, like, it's hard to look in the mirror. I don't know if you've ever done this, but take inventory, right? Look at the 31 and ask yourself, how many of those are me? And be honest. For me, it was 10 a long time ago. I had 10 of them. And then I got to 9, 7, 5. 2015, I had one. I had one. Now, I'd made millions of dollars, but I still had one. I still had one. And I was like, man, how did you know, right? I had one. And that one was a wrong selection of associates in business. So I made a decision that my next company, it's not going to be about the money. It's not going to be about the product. It's not going to be about the compensation. It's not going to be about anything. The only thing I'm going to focus on is finding the right people to be in business with. That's it. So I started going from network marketing company to company to company to company, and I got a call from the top North America earner of Secret, and he's a friend of mine. He used to come to my seminars. He used to come to my trainings, and he was like, "Hey, Muzafer, I heard that you resigned from a company," and I said, "Yes, I did." He goes, "You're open?" I go, "I am." He goes, "Look, Muzafer, we've grown. I'm making about 130 grand a month. But we have so many people. We don't have any systems. We don't have any training. I used to go to your seminars. Listen, can you bring that here?" I said, "Look, I've met with several companies and I'm going to make the right decision for me." He goes, "What are you looking for?" I said, "One thing." I said, "If I find this one thing, I'm all in." I used to, some of you will meet, a lot of you will meet him. My best friend is here with me. He's been in every company with me. You'll meet him. This is not the guy that introduced me to Secret. My best friend, we grew up together in Minnesota. We have war stories, right? His name is Juan. But Pam, you know, it's funny. His dad is black. His mom is Japanese. His name is Juan. Go figure that one out. So, and the thing is is that I used to tell Juan, and I don't know what your choice of music is, everybody, and forgive me if you don't like this person. It's up to you, right? But I'm an R&B and hip hop guy, and there used to be, there still is, right? This song, and Eminem used to say that whoever finds me will get a finder's fee out of this world. And I used to tell my best friend, I said, I have so much to give. I've got a run in me, but I want to do it with the right people. And I used to say, Juan, man, I said, whoever finds me is they're gonna get a finder's fee out of this world, like out of this world. And so I told the guy that was calling me to come to Secret, I'm looking for one thing. And the guy said, how much, Muzafer? How much do you need? And I said, it's not money. It's not money. I said, I'm looking for the right people to be in business with. I said, when I find that, I'm all in. I said, you'll get 1,000% of Muzafer. And he said, you have to come meet Isaac. Like, you have to come meet Isaac. And I fly to Arizona, and I'll never forget, right? I meet the guy, and right away I meet Isaac, and he's like, come to give me a hug. And y'all gotta understand something, right? Like, I grew up in a neighborhood where a strange dude is not gonna just come up and hug you because you're like, hey man, listen, why don't you just stay there? I'm gonna stay here. We can talk, but you're getting a little too close, right? And Isaac is Israeli, and so he was just like, coming to hug me, and so okay, well, I kind of hugged him, and he introduced me to all the executives, and then that night he went and told me the story of Secret, and maybe maybe by now a lot of you have heard it, and if you haven't, I'll save that for another call with us. But that night, after he told me the story, and I realized this guy has integrity. He's got honesty. He's got character, and character is who you are when no one's looking. And he's got heart. That's what I wanted to be around. And he said, what are you doing tomorrow, Muzafer? And I said, well, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna sit with my wife, and we're gonna make the best decision for us. And he goes, will you change your flight? I said, yeah. I said, no problem. He goes, great. I want you to have dinner with my parents. And I sat back and I was like, excuse me? He goes, I want you to have dinner with my parents. I've met with several CEOs. Not one CEO asked me to have dinner with his parents. So to me, here's another weird flag. The guy wanted to hug me. Now he wants me to have dinner with his parents. I said to him, hey man, listen, I'm married. Like and he was like, what? He goes, no, he goes, it's in my culture, right? Like that's, we do this as a family. And I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I'd love to, right? Bam, I go back to the hotel room. My best friend Juan lives in Arizona. I used to live in Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota, right? So he lives in Arizona. So he comes to see me. It's like 11 at night. I tell him the story. He's like, were you crazy? I said, man, you know how we grew up? Like, that didn't make no sense. So I tell my wife. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? I go, sweetheart, it was weird. She goes, the guy asked you to have dinner with, like that's their culture. I go, I don't know, man. The guy hugged me, and so anyways, I'm crazy, right? So the, the next day we, by the way, don't worry about my cough. There's nothing wrong. I'm absolutely healthy. I feel fantastic. I speak for a living. If I was a mechanic and got a little cut, nobody would be worried. If it wasn't during this crazy time, nobody would be worried about my little cough. Right now, everybody's going, oh my God, is he okay? Listen, I'm okay. I feel fantastic. In order to get rid of my cough, I have to stop talking. And right now, that's impossible. I'm doing these Zoom calls from 7 in the morning till like 9, 10 at night. So I'm going to have a little cough, bear with me, and I apologize. Anyways, the point is that I do dinner the second night, and it's this dinner that these guys have vowed to do. Ever since they had success at Secret, the mom and dad made a vow that they're gonna open their house and serve the community, whether you're in Secret or not in Secret. They do it every week. Like every week they do this dinner, and I'm the guest of honor. And so they dropped me at the hotel after all the meetings, and they're like, hey, get ready, we're gonna go to dinner. I was like, great. So I'm getting ready. I call my wife and I'm like, hey, I'm going to dinner. And she goes, what are you taking? I go, what do you mean? She goes, we got to take a gift. You're going to his parents' house for the first time. I'm like, no. I go, no, you don't understand. They said I'm the guest of honor. I go, sweetheart, I don't have to bring a gift. I go, they told me specifically not to. She goes, look, that's not our culture. Our culture is you're going to the parents' house for the first time, you take a gift. I said, listen, sweetheart. I said, you don't understand. They're doing a Shabbat dinner. She goes, my wife goes, I know what a Shabbat is. She goes, you're going to take a gift. I'm on the phone with my wife and I'm just like, listen, look, they told me not to. She goes, if you love me, you'll take a gift. I'm like, fine, I'll take a gift. Fine, right? So I get in the car and I tell one of the leaders, his name is Jesse. You'll meet him. If you haven't met him, he's great. I'm like, Jesse, I go, listen, we need to stop at a store, a flower shop. And he goes, Muzafer, we're running late. You're the guest of honor. You don't have to bring a gift. Nobody brings a gift. Don't do it. I go, listen, man, you don't have to go home to my wife. I promised her I'm bringing a gift. I'm bringing a gift. Like, we got to stop at a store. So we stop at a store and I'm like the idiot, right? Like going through the store with my video phone going, hey, what should I buy? My wife is like, okay, get that one. There was an orchid. And so I get an orchid. And I'm like walking into my his parents' house with this big orchid, like I'm holding it like this, and I give it to the mom, and she starts crying, and Isaac is translating for her, and I go, listen, she's going, thank you, and she's crying, and I'm going, no, it was my wife, right? And Isaac looks at me and he goes, unbelievable. I go, what? He goes, well, number one, you brought a gift from my mom. He goes, and number two, you won't even take credit for it. I go, but it wasn't me. Like, it really was my wife. You're going to meet her. And he goes, what are you doing tomorrow? I go, well, I'm going to go home. I'm going to sit with my wife. We're going to discuss the options we have. And he goes, will you change your flight and stay another day? My 1-day interview meeting turned into 3 days. This is the last piece I'll tell you because I know we've gone a little long and I apologize. But 2 weeks later, so after the third day, I spend time with them. 2 weeks later, I go home. I mean, after 3 days, I go home. 2 weeks later, in the 2 weeks, I have several companies that have made offers to me. And they keep upping their offer. They kept increasing their money. Say, Muzafer, come here as our vice president. Muzafer, come here. Muzafer, and my wife was like, what are we going to do? I said, I found the person I want to be in business with. I can't explain it to you. I said, but there's something in my gut that's telling me that this guy is right. I go, that's who I've been looking for. She goes, but he hasn't called. I go, but he will. Like, he will. 2 weeks later, he hasn't called. And on day number 14, my mom had knee surgery. And I was with my mom and I had just dropped my wife and daughters off. And I was back at the hospital in the parking lot, about to go back up to my mom's room. And I'm sitting in the car and the phone rings. And it's Isaac. And I pick up and he says, the first thing out of his mouth is, have you accepted another offer? That was the first thing. I said, no. He says, thank God. He said, I'm so sorry for my delay. I was all over Asia. I've been meaning to call you. He said, I just want to know one thing. I said, yes, sir. He said, will you come be part of the family? He never asked me to come work for Secret. He never asked me to be his vice president. He never asked me to be a rep. He never asked me to be anything but part of his family. That's what he asked me. And I said, yes. We didn't discuss salary. We didn't discuss nothing. He said, will you come be part of the family? And I said, yes. And I flew to Arizona. And then we talked about me being the vice president of the company. And best decision I ever made in my life. For 2 years, I served the company as the vice president. I went all over the world helping the secret community. And we were a skincare company for a very long time. And we wanted nutrition. We wanted nutrition. And thank God, because of relationships, a really good friend of mine was the master distributor of the best nutrition in the world. And I connected him with Isaac, and we connected the doctor. And I'll never forget when Isaac told me that he said, Muzafer, he goes, look, he goes, we have to get this nutrition. He said, this nutrition is going to change our company and the lives of our community and the future community. You have to make it work. I go, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, I was at dinner with my friend, right? We had just had this meeting, and I'm at dinner with my friend and my wife and my daughters. And he tells me to step outside the restaurant. He's like, listen to me. He goes, I have this gut feeling about this. You have to make it work. I go, Isaac, I'm not going to put a gun to his head and like get him to sign a piece of paper. Like, I'm not Suge Knight. Like, seriously, dude, like, what are you thinking, right? I'm serious, right? Maybe some of y'all don't know that joke. I'm sorry, right? Maybe bad joke. And so I go, I'll do my best. And man, somehow, we have a plan. God has a plan. God's plan always wins. And we got the nutrition company. So now we have the best skincare and the best nutrition in the world. And I resigned as vice president because I looked at Isaac and I said, Isaac, what do you think I should do? He said, as your CEO, I need you to stay my vice president so we could go open up the world together. He said, as your friend and as your brother, I'll never be able to do for you financially what you will get as a distributor in this company as an agent. He goes, that's going to be the best thing for your family. That's who this guy is. So I resigned and became an agent. And when everything started happening with World Ventures, Isaac looked at me and he said, I have this gut feeling. He goes, there's only 2 other times I had this gut feeling, Muzafer. I go, I know. He said, we have to make this one family. And I said, Isaac, I can't make it happen. Like, I'll do my best. And we have a plan. God has a plan. God always wins. And it happened. And we're a family. And now we have to protect each other. And now we have to help each other. And now no one gets left behind. And now you have to divorce yourself from your past. And now you have to focus on your future. And now you go out and become who you want to be. I don't care what your rank was before. That doesn't have to be who you are today. You don't have to wait in line. If you want to be Pam running this Zoom with me, you can do it. You can do it. If you want to be a Keith Willis, or you want to be Hadiatu, or you want to be Darren, or you want to be Martin Ruoff, or you want to be Matt Morris, but don't be them. Be the best you. The best you is good enough, but it will be a better you as you grow and develop. If you want to be a knighted trainer, be a knighted trainer. You don't have to wait in line anymore. You don't. Be the best you. I wasn't this Muzafer guy before, but I became him because I wanted to be the best me. People sit there and say, if you could be anybody, any celebrity, if you could be, Jeff Bezos, if you could be this person, if you could be that person, who would you be? I said, I want to be the best me. I don't have a desire to be anybody else. Man, I love and respect Kobe Bryant, regardless of your feelings. I've watched every game of this man for his 20-year career. Every game. I recorded every game of him. And please, if you don't have the same feeling towards Kobe, listen, he's passed away. God rest his soul. Just let it be. But for me, I watched every game. And I've watched every video of how he is as a father and how he loved his daughters. And today, I hashtag girl dad because of him. But I would never want to be him. I want to be me. I want to be the best me. You're a winner. You came into this world as a winner. You beat 9,999,999 other people to get into this world. And if you don't understand that, that's biology. There's 10 million that were swimming and you won. Just saying, maybe bad analogy, but I'm just letting you know. So you beat 9,999,999 other people that could have been in your mother's womb. You beat them. You were born a winner. God doesn't make no junk. You are here on purpose. Go out and make this next chapter in your life the best. The best. You have all the talent and ability to do it. And I'm so proud of you. And you're going, but you don't know me. Oh, yes, I do. I know you. I've had my own challenges. And the fact that you're on this call, I know you. And I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to meet you in person and hug your neck. And I promise you everything will be okay. And we'll get through this together. Thank you for having me. Pam, I don't know if that's the direction you wanted me to go. I think we were going to do question answer.
Beautiful. And you hit something right on the head, Muzafer. So many things, like the chats are blowing up with just so much gratitude for the gems that you have given us on this call. But more than than the information, right? It is the heart behind it. See, people will give up on business all day long, but they'll never give up on family. And that's why when you said, you were enamored with this culture, with this warriors of a family that we have, that's what's really important, because you can hustle and you can go hard all day long, but if people don't know your heart, your hustle, it doesn't really matter, right? And it's like, I know one thing is like, we know how to sell, we know how to get the job done, we know the mechanics, the how-tos, but I feel like how you said, going into business with the right people. And I wanted you to share that about your story, and not only share your humility about your story, but and the heart behind it, but the authenticity was felt, right? And that is what we need. That is what people need in a world where people aren't what they post to be. People, we need the authenticity, we need the camaraderie, because yes, compensation plans are always going to drive behavior, but it is that camaraderie that shatters records, right? It is that family unity that is going to go above and beyond, and we greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate you. So I have one last question, and I know that we are over time. Usually we keep these calls in a little under an hour. But I have one last question, because we have been, a lot of people in the field, and this is just something from somebody that's like, what, we've heard that the compensation plan is like, you want to, the plan of action, like Matt Morris said, is make sure that you're going for bronze and have one bronze left, one bronze right. But in your experience, what would you say it's like, this is how we're going to win December? I want like some marching orders, like this is how we win December, and how do we win December? And one or two tricks of the trade that you're like, this has helped me in gathering business, increasing revenue, with whether it's salons, whether it's training, whatever it is that you're like, this has allowed me to be successful. If you could share that really quick.
And I can, and I think that that's step 2 and step 3. I think right now, step 1 for everybody, because what's going to happen is the tree is going to go live. And you have people in your organization that may have fell asleep over the years, over the months, over whatever time. And sometimes, you think that they're dead, but they're not dead. They're just sleeping, right? If I had the ability for my tree to move over, I'm telling y'all right now that I would have a phone dang near attached to me. The very first thing that I would do is, it would be my mentality. of like that's it. My mentality would be every single person in my organization is going to be a bronze, every single person, right? And what I would do is that I would get everybody ready. Like I would be calling everybody saying it's coming. This is it. This is the time. Right now, some of you are waiting for things to go live. I would be running beforehand. So what I did, Pam, is that I was vice president. I resigned. Before I resigned, I made this list on a whiteboard of 500 new people. And I was making phone calls. And I was telling people, hey, listen, I'm about to resign as vice president. Oh my God, Muzafer, what's wrong? What's wrong with Secret? Nothing. I'm actually resigning to go be a distributor. What? Why would you give up your salary to go do this? I go, think about it. If I'm doing that, I'm not an idiot. I go, the reason I'm doing it is this is everything that I've ever wanted. This is going to be the biggest build of my life. Yes, I've made X, Y, Z. This will crush everything I've ever done. Pam, people saw it in my eyes. They heard it in my voice. Everybody's looking for what is it going to be with Secret and our products and everything. No, what is it going to be with your voice and your eyes and your tone? And when people look at you, what do they know? What do they see? What do they feel? That's it right now. Like right now, you have to create this frenzy more than anything. It is all about the people you have and the people that have waited and the people that have watched and the people that have said no. I would be calling back every no. And I'd say, listen, I know you said no to World Ventures, but let me tell you something. You got to hear this. This is what happened. This is going to be the biggest build of my life. You need to see this. You need to see this. Listen, my mom told me when I was resigning as vice president, call your brother. And I said, no, like he's not going to do it, Mom. She goes, listen, he's your brother. You've helped so many people make millions of dollars. You've helped strangers. She goes, like, help your brother. And she goes, I'll pay for him. I go, no, I go, like, you guys understand. I didn't tell you in the story. After my 5th year in network marketing, I retired my mom. And I put $7,000 a month into my mom's bank account. There's the number 7, Pam. $7,000 a month into my mom's bank account every month for 7 years straight. True story, Pam, another 7. That's the truth, right? So 7,000 a month for 7 years straight into her bank account. Here's the point. My mom said, I'll pay for your brother to get started. I said, why, Mom? I'm going to end up giving you the money. No, he's got to want it. She goes, call him. I called my brother and I said, listen, this is going to be the biggest build of my life. You've seen what I've done. You see how I live. I'm going to crush it. And he said, no, right? He said, no. Now you have to live with that. Not everybody's going to say yes. I had to live with my brother saying no again, right? And my brother just came for Thanksgiving and he looks at my life today and my nephews go, I don't know why my dad didn't start with you. I go, listen, it's okay. Everybody has their journey, their path. God bless them. I said, the point is that I called them. Like I called them. Guys, listen to me. Have you called them? Have you called them? Who's them? The ones that said no. The ones that maybe hated. You don't know what they're going through right now. Let go of what they said before. Let go of the past. Everybody goes in and out of this looking zone. You guys don't be focused on the next steps of Secret. Focus on step 1 of what you have. You have the biggest opportunity dropped in your life right now. I will do calls with you to teach you how to get salons and gyms and business owners and recruit and language and products and how to demo and comp plan and I'll do that with you. I have no problem. My advice to you right now is call them. Call that chicken list. Call that list of people you've been scared to talk to. And don't worry about your past success. So many of you push your pain forward. You think, how can I get somebody in this business because I haven't made money? It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. They have their journey. Don't rob them of their journey because of your speed bumps. Don't rob somebody of their journey because of your speed bumps. Just because you had speed bumps, that doesn't mean that they won't have a clearer path. That's not fair to them. Call them. Call them. What you tell them is you tell them the truth. You tell them that you found the biggest opportunity. Well, I thought it was World Ventures. It's now beyond. Let me tell you what's happened. Let me connect you with somebody. Let me tell you something. It doesn't have to be fake. If the truth is not good enough, it's okay. As long as you gave your best and highest effort. I told my daughter, she's about to do a poem today in school. I told my daughter that I don't care what the teacher says. I've watched you give your best and highest effort. I said, regardless of what the teacher says, to me, you got an A. You got 100%, baby. I said, whatever she says, if it's not positive, she's wrong. That's what I said to my daughter. Because as long as my daughter gave her best and highest effort, I'll live with the results. I'll live with the results. As long as it's your best. Have you given your best up until today? Ask yourself, have you made the best calls? Have you given the best amount of time? Have they heard the best from you, or have they heard a nervous person? Have they heard somebody that's worried? Have they heard somebody that's concerned? Have they heard someone that's a little excited? Have they heard your best yet? Your best, have they heard it? That's all I want to ask you. Have they heard your best? And if they haven't, call them again. The ones you called last week, call them again. If they haven't heard your best. That's the advice. More than anything, get them on a video. Did they see your eyes dance when you talk about secret? Because whenever I talk about secret, my eyes dance. Even though it's been 5 years, my eyes dance when I talk about this opportunity. I tell people I get to do. I'm so grateful I get to do secret. I'm allowed to do this. I'm so grateful I'm allowed to do this. Gratitude. Be grateful that the biggest opportunity just dropped in your life. Call them. Pam, that's my advice.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that it may not be what you wanted, but that's my advice. Like it's about your mentality. It's about people hearing you. You don't have to scream and shout, but you have to have that feeling inside, that screaming and shouting. And people will see it. What do they see when they look into your eyes? Because there's not one of you that can look into my eyes and see doubt, see disbelief, see concern. There's not one of you that sees it. That's what they need to see. That's what they need to feel. And remember, we have it. We have it. If somebody goes, okay, well, I'll look at yours if you'll look at mine. No, I'm not looking. I'm not looking. We have it. Well, then I'm going to stay where I'm at. I'm going to stay in my company. God bless you. When things change for you, call me because I have it. What do you mean? What is it? You'll see it when you see it. I have it. Come talk to me. I have it. When people feel that you have it, curiosity will kill the cat. But they have to know that you have it. I appreciate all of you. Pam, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I've got to run to another call.
Thank you so much for thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for blessing us today. Thank you so much for just sharing your heart above, you sharing your story and sharing your journey. It was just your heart throughout it all that was much needed. Thank you so much for the love, and thank you so much for being here with us today. You guys, please be sure to show Muzafer some love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for being on.
You got it. Bye for now.
See you soon. So, guys, this has been your Breakfast Cup call for Thursday, December 10th, 2020. I know some of you guys had asked those questions, but I believe that he answered it specifically how it needed to be. Let's go call them. Let's go call them. Let's go make this a December to remember. If you did not get on the Secrets All Agent calls last night, the replay is up on the Facebook group page. Thank you guys so much for tuning on. Have a blessed, amazing, prosperous day. Go call them. Let's get it.